Once again, class 9. The same lesson, nature of matter. In today's class, we are going to discuss about a question related to compound and mixture. And first question is comparison between compound and mixture. First is the compound, and you have to compare it with mixture. In your copy, in your notebook, you already written about the properties of compound and mixture. It is very easy to compare compound and mixture on the basis of the properties written in your copy. Now, what is the first basis of that? Look after in your copy, the property section of the compound and element. Then compare it. Compound is always, or it is always homogeneous in nature. But what about the mixture? Mixture, it may be homogeneous or heterogeneous in nature. As we know that there are two types of mixture, one is the homogeneous and one is the heterogeneous. The second difference between these two, the substance present in the mixture can be separated by physical method. It means the substance cannot be separated in compound by any physical method. Constituent element cannot be separated by any physical method. But in element, the constituent element easily separated by the physical method. Constituent element can be separated by any physical method or by physical method. It is also correct. By physical method. So what is the third difference between these two? As we know that in compound, the constituent element loses their nature, their property, their identification. It means the constituent element do not show their properties. But
all the constituent element able to show their own property. So constituent elements are able to show or do show their properties. Elements do show their properties. Okay. Now what is the next point? For differentiate between these two, as we know that compound has a fixed melting and boiling point, but the fixed melting and boiling point is not present in mixture. It has a fixed melting and boiling point, but in mixture it has not fixed melting and boiling points. Okay, one more important thing, when we form the compound, it is compulsory that constituent elements combine in a fixed proportion, but that fixed proportion is not required in mixture. What is the next differentiation point? That all the constituent elements combine in definite or fixed proportion. But what happened here? All the elements or constituent elements are in indefinite proportion. So this is the comparison between the compound and the mixture. One of the important question, what is the difference between compound and mixture? And this is the answer for that question. Friends, as I told you, today we are going to discuss about some important question. The second important question related with this compound and the mixture is predicting whether a substance or given substance is a compound or mixture. Okay, we have to predict. Okay, predict that the given substance is compound or mixture. We have the properties, various properties of the compound and mixture are there. We compare that properties also. So how can we identify the substance whether it is compound or mixture? Okay, you must have to remember some points in your mind that are the properties of the compound and the mixture. Whatever the properties, if you consider the first property that is about the homogeneous and heterogeneous, that point is not applicable here because the compound is also homogeneous and mixture is also homogeneous. So just left this point about we are unable to compare the homogeneous nature of compound and homogeneous nature of mixture. So what are the points on which we have to compare that whether the substance is compound or it is mixture? So must remember few points. First, the substance by which the compound or mixture is formed. If the substance is separated by physical method, then it is mixture, and if it is not separated by physical method, then it is compound. So what first point you have to think, substance can be separated by physical method or not. Okay, you have to compare this point, or you have to able to compare the second point, that the constituent element can show their property or not. Constituent elements can show their properties or not. Okay, now what is the ratio of the constituent element? The constituent element combine in a fixed proportion or not? Constituent elements combine in a fixed proportion or not. Now what is the fourth point to compare these two? The fourth point about the melting and the boiling point. If the melting point and boiling point is fixed, then it is compound. If it is not fixed, indefinite, then it is mixture. Nature of melting and boiling point. Melting and boiling point. We also compare it with the help of the process during which the energy is formed. Energy is the heat and light or not. If energy is formed during any chemical changes, then it is compound. If there is no exchange of energy is going on, then it is called the mixture. But 4 point is sufficient for you. Now, what type of the question is asked in examination regarding to this? Predicting the compound and mixture. Simple question is there. You have to prove why water is a compound. Why water? What is water? That is H2O. Water is a compound. You have to give this answer. Why water is a compound? Now, what is the answer? Yes, water is a compound, but there is why. Water is a compound because first point, it cannot be separated by physical method. Okay, water, the constituent element, or water, the hydrogen and oxygen cannot be separated by physical method. Okay, what is the answer? Hydrogen and oxygen cannot be separated by any physical process. Okay. Now, what is the second reason for that? Why water is a compound? Constituent element can show their property. Hydrogen and oxygen cannot show their properties in mixture, in compound or in water. What is the compound? Water. Now, third reason for that, constituent element combine in FX proportion. We know that hydrogen and oxygen combine in 1:8 to form water. Hydrogen and oxygen are in fixed ratio proportion, and that is 1:8. Okay. Now, fourth point here, nature of melting and boiling point. As we know that the melting point of the water is and boiling point of the water is, the freezing point is 0 degree and the boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. So, water or H2O has fixed melting point and boiling point. So, this is the answer of the question, why water is a compound. Similarly, one more question is there. This is question. One more question, why air is a mixture. Now, you have to compare it with the mixture property. Okay. See, first property, substance can be separated by physical method. Yes, all the constituent element present in mixture can be separated. You are able to write here, air is a mixture because all the constituent elements can be separated by physical method. Okay. Now, second, why air is a mixture? The constituent element can show their property or not. They cannot show their property. The constituent elements cannot show their properties. Can show their properties. Okay. Now, what is next? Constituent element combine in X proportion. No, the constituent element The constituent elements cannot be combined in fixed proportion. As we know that oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, argon, all this composition changes time to time. Nature of melting and boiling point. Compound has a fixed melting and boiling point, but air, melting point and boiling point of air, the components are not fixed. Okay, melting point and boiling point is not fixed. So any other example, any other substance, if it is considered as a compound or mixture, you have to identify them on this parameter. If they follow this parameter, accordingly that we are able to explain why it is a compound or why it is a mixture. Told you, today we are going to discuss about some question related to compound and mixture. One more question related to the compound or mixture. Let us suppose one equation is given here. For example, magnesium oxide is formed when magnesium combines with oxygen. Okay, now what is the question? Magnesium oxide formed when the magnesium and oxygen is combined together, or magnesium oxide is split up to form magnesium and oxygen. Then what you have to do? The three substances, look at here, this is the magnesium oxide, this is magnesium, and this is oxygen. So three things are here, things are present here. You have to give one conclusion for all these three. Okay, what is the question? Question is like that: magnesium oxide breaks by chemical process to form magnesium and oxygen. Okay, what you have to do? The question is, in the given equation, what conclusion will you draw regarding? Okay, what is the question? In given equation or in above equation, what conclusion you have drawn regarding these three substances: magnesium oxide, magnesium and oxygen. So this is the one format of question. Okay, in the given equation, what conclusion you will draw regarding magnesium oxide, magnesium and oxygen. Okay, what is the conclusion? First is the magnesium oxide. What is the magnesium oxide? Magnesium oxide, it is a compound. Why it is called? It is compound because magnesium and oxygen combine in a fixed proportion. Okay, the second is the magnesium. What about the magnesium and what about the oxygen? Both the thing is here, magnesium and oxygen. Magnesium, it is an element Why it is an element? Because it cannot be separated in a smaller unit. Okay, it cannot be separated, or it cannot be break. It cannot be break in a smaller unit. Same as for the oxygen also. In a given equation, what is your prediction? We predict that magnesium oxide is a compound, magnesium is the oxygen element, and oxygen is the element. So all these are the questions related to the compound addition. All for today. Bye bye.